Hello there, and I wanted to show you how to sage or to smudge a person, a place, such as your home or an object. Basically, saging or smudging, you may have heard of it before, but maybe you're not quite sure what it is or how to do it. This is a bundle of sage, which is the most common herb used for smudging or saging, but keep in mind that you can use other things. This full moon incense has rose petals, cedar wood in it. So if you have any roses around the house and you've dried them, you could incorporate those into some saging for your house. Excuse me. Other things that you might have or can use for saging and smudging would be a saging feather. So this one I made out of a few feathers, and this is a seashell with some ribbon. Yours doesn't have to be elaborate like this at all. You can probably go buy a feather, but if you find one, I generally tend to go that route. Is wait till you find one, and then you can use it. And the whole point behind having a feather is that you don't want your breath to be blowing onto the sage and then out. You want it to be a pure breath, not coming from your mouth. So I generally like to also have a candle with me to start the sage from a candle instead of a lighter. But if that's all you have, then that's perfectly fine. Light it with a lighter. Also, another type of sage that I really like to use is Palo Santos, which smells really good. So if someone that you know doesn't necessarily like the smell of sage, my kids aren't the biggest fan of sage, but they deal with it. Sometimes I'll burn the Palo Santos, and that makes them a little happier. So to sage, you're going to want to start in the lowest level of your house. And you just bring the sage little bundle to the flame and kind of let it start smoking, start catching on fire. And it takes a little bit, whether if it's a fresh sage bundle, it might take a little longer to light than if it's an already used one. I love the smell of sage. It smells so good. I also have a conch shell, or sorry, not a conch shell, I'm not quite sure, an abalone. I can't pronounce it, but anyway, one of these shells that you can get at New Moon Gifts, which is Raindale, and the Allendale Underground. They also sell the sage and the Palo Santo, so they're definitely a great resource for getting smudging supplies. You can also find one on the beach and use it. So once you've got your stick kind of going, you're going to start moving around the house, room to room, going in all four corners of the house, all four corners of the room, and then moving throughout the house, and then going to the upper levels and encouraging the smoke to go out the doors and the windows. To sage a person, you start at their feet, have them lift each foot, and go up the back body and then down, kind of going back and forth, circling the head and then down. And you use your feather to direct the smoke. So the smoke penetrates in deep into the atmosphere, and it alters the vibration of the space or the being or the object. It absorbs the dense and heavy energy, and that's how saging and smudging works. It's rooted deep in Native American cultures and traditions, hence probably why we use the feathers and the shells. Everything's from and of the earth. When you're done, when you're complete with your smudging, don't put your sage stick out under the water, because then it will be useless to you going further. Stick it in your shell or on a ceramic a ceramic surface, kind of douse it out that way, or just let it go out naturally in your shell. If you're burning something like the rose petals or any other kind of herb, just put it right in the bottom of your shell and light it up that way. And use your feather to fan the flames. So if you've never tried saging or smudging, now you know how, no more excuses. So stop by your nearest holistic or wellness center, and they'll have all of your saging supplies. And if you really don't feel like leaving your house at all, you can definitely order them all on Amazon. Now that it smells so lovely in here, I hope I've inspired you to try something new. Namaste.